why is it important to know hip hop? Why? You know, most people look at it as music or some guy rhyming on a stage or something. Why is it important to know hip hop? Why is it important to even be associated with hip hop? You'll notice that most knowledge in the world, just the idea of knowledge, what you know, some of what's known, the idea of knowledge tries to either relieve human suffering in a philosophical sense, or it predicts what's going on. Hip hop is at the heights of that. Not only does knowing hip hop relieve human suffering, which we'll get into later, but knowing it also, or should I say, having the sight that hip hop has, having the awareness, gives you the ability to predict what's gonna happen in the inner cities before it happens. For many years, various magazine publications have attempted to document and interpret the forward movement of hip hop from a traditionally objective perspective. This objectivity, although useful in the field of journalism, proves poor as a general method in interpreting the consciousness of hip hop for hip hoppers. Between the years of 1988 to 1998, rap publications of all styles relied on being objective journalists when documenting hip hop as opposed to being hip hop. Such was their academic training. However, hip hop, as with many popular cultures, is unique in the sense that accurately documenting its culture requires its interpreters to participate in its expressions. This is very important. If you can't do it, you can't interpret it. What hip hop is going through is that people who have no idea what it is, how to do it, nothing, are interpreting for the rest of the world what's going on, who we are. Hip hop has yet to speak for itself. The journalistic census toward hip hop mirrored the mainstream census of Black and Latino youth. Violent criminals, helpless, hopeless, untrustworthy, dangerous to be around, but nonetheless great entertainment. What they interpreted as hip hop was really MCing, which they later labeled rap. Breaking was labeled breakdancing. Piecing, burning, bombing, and tagging were all lumped together as graffiti art. Early hip-hop owned no monthly publication, video countdown, or Saturday night master mix. In its early days, it could not interpret itself for itself, and those with the resources to interpret it did so with no interest in hip-hop's creative intelligence. In other words, no one asked, how do you develop the language you're speaking? How? Most journalists wanted to know, or most people in general wanted to know was, yo man, how you getting so much money doing that? Keep in mind, in the early days, hip hop was illegal. When I started as a graffiti artist, and it was illegal. I mean, graffiti art is always illegal, but rap music was illegal. They started off as block parties, but then they got more sophisticated as the years went on, mainly because of the aggression that hip hop was facing early on. These parties were done out in places in the Bronx called 123 Park, Cedar Park. And these were the early areas where when an MC and DJ duo would come out, they'd plug into the light. That instantly made us illegal. But more so than that, when we started rhyming and the DJ started cutting, this weird and unusual noise out in the parks began to aggravate people. And shockingly enough, it didn't aggravate the police. It aggravated our parents. Now most people got away with it. Most people did their jam and the cops said, oh, break it up. And they broke it up. Other people, cops just came in, click, 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 everybody's gone. No questions, no answers, no nothing. Early hip hop starts like that.